So, Coach, man, that's an amazing story, man. And your story is so similar to mine in a lot of different ways. Like, I got cut in high school, in my sophomore year. I know you said your junior year. But a lot of what you said, just the perseverance part. Like, I don't know if a lot of our kids really understand adversity. And I often talk to my wife, and I tell her I try to relate to the kids, and I let them know some of the struggles that I had, like not making the team, not getting a lot of playing time. And she would always say, "Well, don't tell them all that. Like, tell them a lot of the great things that you did." And like you said, I wasn't the best basketball player, but I did a lot of good things well. Had some success in high school. But I told her, like me and you talked about, man, I don't want to be like a lot of these other guys or young ladies that try to flex on kids all the time and tell them, man, I did this in Division One, I was All American, I was Danny Dozen,
Yeah.
and I said they get enough of people lying to them, so let me give them some truth
Right.
to help it relate. And so she said, okay, I kind of see your perspective with it because I let them know that it ain't always easy because it's a small percent of people that's gonna play college ball. It's a small percentage of people that's even going. You may get on the team, like you said, but you may not even play. And so the percentage gets smaller and smaller as you go up. So I try to relate to them on just the things that you got to go through. So I'm glad that you shared that because sometimes it can get discouraging, man, because when you make basketball, and unfortunately, a lot of athletes, and we do this a lot of time, we let our sports be our identity. And sometimes we fall into that trap. And when that identity, I would say that identity safe blanket is taken from us,
Mm.
we really don't know what to do with ourselves, but you kept on going through it, Coach. And so, Coach, what made you say you went to high the first semester? That didn't necessarily work out for you. And then you say you went to Southwest. Man, I was laughing when you said it about the intramural thing, man, because when I went to Jackson State, I played intramural basketball, and it was kind of the same. But my story more gonna be on the football side. So I play intramural football. So in my mind, Coach, I'm going out there, intramural football. I'm thinking it's recess football because I'm not even thinking about I'm not thinking about what you said. Like, these are former athletes. These
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
former, like, maybe Danny Dozen, all Metro, all region players. So I'm out there, man. I'm out there in hooping shoes on. And man, I'm out there thinking I'm about to, just kill and be successful. So I'm out there playing DB. Man, no lie, Coach. The first 2 or 3 plays, man, they mossing me, man. Like, they taking me deep down the field, bro. So I'm like, man, this is so crazy. Like, I'm trying to catch up, man. They throwing it, man. They catching it all over me, man. I'm looking bad. Like, it's like they picking on me. ISO plays 1-on-1 every time.
Yeah.
Coach, that was my last time playing in real football. Like, y'all for real. Because I'm looking at these dudes got cleats on. They got gloves
Yeah.
on. They got rubber band. I'm out there hooping shoes, hooping short. And so that's why you are right, though. That intramural makes a difference. But let me tell you the thing that I like about it, and I hope some young coaches are really listening to this. Um, Sometimes that competitive edge that you're building in intramural sports, that does translate over to college, because one of the hardest things to do, Coach, and it says a lot about you, is the confidence level, is to be able to go up to a college coach and ask them about trying out and ask them to getting on the team. Because you kind of know, especially back then, it's probably the same now, man. Coaches were a lot more blunt. They weren't necessarily the most friendly sometimes, and it's kind of intimidating to be a 17, 18, or 19-year-old kid, go into this college coach office and ask for an opportunity and a chance. But you playing in a mirror gives you that competitive spirit, and it gave you the confidence. And I think confidence is so key, and I think that's a part that I was missing in my journey as a basketball career, because you don't have to be the most talented to be able to be successful. Like, you don't have to be the best player to be successful playing basketball. If you got some toughness, if you got some grit, and you got some confidence, you can do a lot with it. Like, a person or a team is scary when they got confidence. Uh,
Right.
and it's and I tell my guys that all the time. Like, a lot of times, like, we're in a tough basketball district. This past year we was in there with Raymond, and we was in there with Lanier and Macomb, and this year we got Raymond again, and we're in there with Forrest and Morton and Mendenhall, and we're super young. Like, we don't have any seniors. And I tell our guys, and I'm trying to instill in my guys, that we got confidence and we continue to build and we continue to get some grit and some grind. It's going to be tough to beat us, even though your team may be a whole lot better than we are at this present moment. If you and I'm trying to give my guys confidence. If you got some confidence, it makes a big, big difference. And so I'm excited to see this. So when a person got confidence, you got to be super, super aware of what they're doing.
Right.
And so then, coach, so I think that's amazing that you're sharing, and I think that's powerful with that. And for you to have that mindset to say, "Hey, man, I'm gonna pick up 94 feet in this practice. Like, I'm gonna do something to stand out from these other guys and let you know, hey, coach, I want to be a part of this team." And I heard the story, and you probably heard it too. Bob Huggins said the same thing about Carter when he was going to West Virginia. He said he went to an AAU game. I think it was like 8 or 9 in the morning.
Yeah.
He saw Carter. He said he was picking up length of the floor. And he said, man, I don't know if this kid can play or not, but if he picking up 84, 94 feet, um, we gonna pick them up on the team. And so, and I try to get my kids to realize that, man, if you do the small things, coach is looking for everything. They ain't just looking for somebody to score. They're looking for somebody to do some things, pick up 94 feet. And so you doing that, I think that's amazing, which talks about your adversity, it talks about your grit. And what I saw when I met you a couple of weeks ago, coach, I'm starting to see, like, this ain't nothing that you just randomly did. Like, this has been a part of who you are.
Right.
So man, that's powerful in that. Talk about this as I continue to go down your notes. I know Coach Lofton, of course, was there. You could just kind of mention some things, maybe some things that stood out about you with him. I know Coach Brooks, obviously, he was the assistant coach. He's the head coach now at Mississippi College. So that's kind of good to see that kind of coming around. So if you could just kind of talk about those guys in some form or fashion, maybe some things that you learned from or something that stood out about them as your time playing for Mississippi College.
Well, I think starting out with Coach Lofton, man, he was I think he was an opportunist. Like he was willing to give opportunity. And when I look back at that team, we had probably 20 guys on the roster to start off. And one thing he would always say is the the cream gonna rise to the top. I think one of the players asked, like, man, why we got so many people on the team? He was like, the cream gonna rise to the top. So that, and I didn't really think much of it then, but as I get older and mature, I even use that because it makes a lot of sense. Like even like I just had like probably 24 people that I put on the team at Union. That's including JV though.
Yeah.
And one of the kids asked me like, "Man, why so many people?" And I said the same thing. The cream gonna rise to the top. And he looked. He was like, he thought about it. He was like, "Coach, that make a lot of sense." I said, "Yeah." I say you gonna see the ones that's really built for it and the ones that's not. Whether they quit, whether they say this ain't for me or whatever it is, the cream gonna rise. So I think he was just one of those guys that he seen something in me. And even when I went and talked to him, uh, I could tell that he was really like listening to understand and not just going one way and go out the other. Like he wasn't just one of them coaches that's like, yeah, I hear you, but I ain't really studying. Like he was actually like, okay, trying to see how I could actually help their team. You know what I'm saying? I forgot to mention too, I actually played when I my last semester at Southwest, I played in an adult league as well in Jackson. They had these adult basketball leagues, stuff like that. And a lot of former overseas players, college players go and play in it. And that gave me a lot of confidence as well because the team that I was on, it was a team, kind of a startup team from Brookhaven.
Mm-hmm.
I made that team picking up 94 feet. And against their starting point guard. And I locked him down, hit him to 0 points. But being on that team, we ended up making it to I think we was probably the third seed. It was like 4 teams. And we was like the third seed. And we ended up making it to the championship. Because we beat the 2 seed to get there. And the team we played in the final, which we ended up losing by like 7 points, they had a guy from Gulf Coast University. Like they had some like legit D1 guys, some overseas guys, and I'm out there playing with those guys, and I'm like, and I actually started that game. Like I had worked my way up to the starting lineup, and I think playing out there on the floor with those guys gave me the confidence even more going into Mississippi College. Like, yeah, I can play on this level. I just need a real opportunity because, like I didn't tell you before, I didn't even play in junior high school. I didn't play my freshman year. Like I didn't even try out for the team. Like I didn't try out till my sophomore year, and then I made the JV, but half the JV season got canceled. And I think 3 or 4 games we did end up playing. He was using those games to get the varsity guys that were actually like maybe not getting as many minutes, like
Yeah.
seniors and juniors. He was using those JV games to get those guys a little bit of playing time experience, get them ready in case he needed them for. So it's like the timing of everything was kind of. It's not that I wasn't talented; it's like the timing of it. And then it didn't help the fact that I was a late bloomer and I, grew probably 6 inches my junior year. Um, I started college at 17. So it was just a lot of kind of factors that kind of played into that. But yeah, I think Coach Lofton, man, he was really just big on just opportunity. Uh, and he was just really a really good guy. You know what I'm saying? His wife was really good as well, helping out with the team. Coach Brooks, he was one of the guys that was more of the technical guy. He ran the practices. Like he was very strict with the drills and stuff we did. I remember one morning because we used to have morning workouts, and then that was more skill type practices, and then we had like afternoon practice. I remember one morning workout, we had to be there for 6 a.m. I was late. I was like, I think 1 or 2 minutes late. I walk in, he look at me, and he was so like mad. He was like, dude, you're trying to make this, like you're trying to like earn a spot and you're late. He said, just go ahead and go back. Just go back to your room. And that showed me everything I need to know right there. And I was like 1 or 2 minutes late, and I'm just like, dang, like a minute or two late. But he was very like detailed, like just, and he was very, and he wasn't a coach to sugarcoat nothing. You know what I'm saying? That kind of taught me a lot too about just the coaching game. Like, don't sugarcoat nothing, because I respected him a lot because of that. The way he would just be straight up with you. Like it was, because like I told you, I'm musically inclined as well. I got a scholarship to play, because you know at Mississippi College you got chapel. I got a scholarship to play the bass guitar for their chapel. They needed a bass player, and I had to try out for that, and I ended up getting a scholarship to play for it. And I let him know that, and he was pretty much straight over me and said, "Look, you might want to go ahead and take that scholarship money, because you're behind like 5 shooting guards, because those 5 guards I was behind, like I said, we had like 20 guys. They were all on scholarship. So I'm trying to. They got the experience. I don't. They're on scholarship, so they're going to invest into those guys. So I'm sitting here trying to beat these guys out my senior year, and he was just straight over me like, "Look, man, just take the scholarship." But in my mind, I'm thinking no, because I'm not going to do anything with music for my career, but I can actually see myself doing something basketball. So I need this experience, whether I'm playing or not. I need the experience. So I just stuck it out. But he was a great communicator. Like he was pretty much, straightforward with you, no sugarcoat. And I think that's why he's got to the point he's at now. I think he's the head coach now at Mississippi College. Yeah.
Yeah, he is, man. It's good to see people kind of move up, man. And there's always small signs when you see an individual that can rise to those things. And obviously did a good job at I think it was at JA, and then of course Mississippi College. Just shout out to one of my former players, Tariq Richardson. I know he's one of the assistant coaches at Mississippi College now. So shout out to one of my former players with that. Talk about this, man. If I was doing my research, man, I went back to I think your senior season. I went back to, and I started looking at the lineup, man, and I started to see a lot of familiar faces, man, and that's why I like basketball, because I think it's one of the greatest storytellers of life, man. There's so many points, and I'm learning so much from you, Coach. Just being a young guy, man, like just some of the things that you push through in the adversity, and just having a different mindset, and that's something that I'm like appreciative of, just listening. But Coach, talk to us about, man. I was looking at, man, I saw some of your teammates, and some of your teammates now are head coaches, or they're assistant coaches, or they're coaches in major programs, or they're ninth grade coaches, and they have kind of transitioned to different spots and levels. Of course, I know Harvey, of course at Brandon, and of course I know, Taylor. I call him DT. I actually, my first year, man, my first year at Pisgah High School, man, I'm at Pisgah, and we play Pelahatchie. Shout out to Coach Rod Taylor at Pearl as well. Man, Pelahatchie beat me like by 54 points. And man, and DT going to work, man. Like DT gave me the blues my first year. So that's kind of how I got to know DT, man. And these guys are good, man. So kind of talk about some things that you may have seen earlier with Coach Harvey and Coach Taylor, and maybe some other guys that I missed that are on your staff. I know you mentioned someone else. But name some, like, just talk about just how playing with those guys or being around them all the time, how y'all all are kind of falling into this coaching world, man. I think that was an interesting thing that I kind of just noticed as doing my research.
Yeah, man. I think that's a great question. I kind of look back at that often, like how a lot of those guys from that team my senior year are now in the coaching game.
Yep.
And I remember me and Otis, one day we were talking one night. So sometimes we used to go to the gym, get up shots or whatever, work on the plays and different things. But we were talking one night, and we were just talking about what we're gonna do next, man, when we graduate. You know, we
Yeah.
both seniors and trying to figure things out. And we both talked about, being coaches. And we just kind of talked about what would our philosophies be, and different things like that, and how will we get to that point. And to be honest, I didn't know how I would get to that point. And he kind of had his his road already mapped out. He was like, man, I'm gonna become a GA, man. I'm gonna be a graduate assistant when I graduate, and kind of just work under Loft and them, and kind of work up that way.
Yeah.
But me, on the other hand, I didn't really know how I was going to get into the coach game. But I think, him just kind of going about the way he did, I could always kind of see. I would have never really expected it, though, because he was always kind of more of the reserve one,
Yeah.
out of the bunch. But now looking back at it, he was always very like dialed in, like he kind of had a good understanding of the game. Cause me and my guys, like me and my teammates, we talk basketball all the time, with this NBA or whatever. So he was always one of those ones that I could kind of look back now and say, yeah, I can definitely see it. Dylan Taylor, DT, that's what we called him as well. That was one of my young bucks, man. He was a freshman at the time, and he would always, cause I started cutting hair as well. Well, I had already been cutting hair, but I started cutting for the guys on the team, and then a lot of other athletes around the school as well when they found out I could. But he would always come to me on game days or before the game and get him a little line or something if he was going out or something. He'd come and get a little fresh chop. And we always just talk basketball, man. But I would have never expected him to get into the coach game as well. But I did always see that he had a pretty high IQ and understanding of the game. So that's kind of like a fact you look at. Who was the other one? Zeke, Isaiah, Austin. He's another one. I think he's over there with DT now at Pearl, but he actually was at Clinton the previous 4 or 5 years or whatever.
Okay.
And
Okay. I
but
ain't realize.
yeah. He, man, me and him, man, that was my guys. Where he used to come get chopped up. We used to play 1-on-1 sometime. But Z, he's my guy as well, man. And he's another one that I would have never thought would have gotten in the coaching game. So there's a lot of them on the team, as you can see, that I never would have thought. And they probably looking at me like, we never thought Rick got into it. But it just kind of, I guess, basketball just kind of found us after we got done playing, But it's been a great to kind of see all those guys kind of step into this, this run.
Man, that's good to see, man. Again, I could go on and on, man, but I got a lot of things that I want to ask you. So Coach, talk about, and this was some similarities that you and I had as well. Like I started off volunteering with a rec team here in Jackson. My brother played for my team. He was solid. He was probably average about 18, 24s.
Right.
But we wasn't that good either. But I learned so much in that. Like that's why I really found my love in coaching in that. So I thought that was another connection. And this kind of lead into my next question. Now you get to League Central. You're working with the junior high program, and you also an assistant coach as well. Like, and I'm looking at it as I'm doing my research, looking at my notes. Obviously, I know great times in League Central. I got familiar. I wasn't very familiar with a lot of schools before I went to Pisgah because, of course, I lived in Jackson, grew up in Jackson all my life. And so I only knew about the metro schools. So when I went to Pisgah, I started to learn about schools outside of our immediate metro area. So I got introduced to Leake County and I got introduced to Leake Central. And of course, those who listen and who support you, they like, man, how you don't know about us? Because again, Leake Central and Leake County has a great culture of basketball, has some staples in the program. Like I know one time I went to Leake County, man, I look up on the wall. I want to say Luther Riley name was up there. And so different who played in that area. So Coach Striblin, from Leake County, coached in. So you start to see some of the things. Okay, I see what's going on. So Coach, talk to us about your time at Leake Central Junior High, Leake Central High School. Kind of talk about some of your players, your administration. I know we talked earlier about Coach Will Banks, things of that nature, but just kind of give us a overall perspective on your time at League Central as your coaching career kind of kicked off and got started.
Man, my time at League Central, man, has been an absolute movie. Like it's been a blast, man. Like I think coming in with being 24 years old, kind of new. Where I ain't gonna say kind of. I was new to the coaching game. The only experience I had was coaching my little brother Rick team, but
Yeah.
coming in, man, and Mr. Fleming, he was the principal at the time. He the one who did my interview. And just him giving me that opportunity, I owe a lot to him, man, because he really did take a really big gamble because, like you say, the basketball culture there is pretty rich.
Yeah.
And they had he always tells me even to this day, like, man, he said, I chose you over like qualified candidates. Like it was a
Mhm.
lot of qualified candidates that wanted that job. And he said, but I seen some in you, and I feel like your presence commanded a room, and you could, command a team. So he said, I just chose you, even though you didn't have experience, which we'll get into later as well, that experience factor. But he said, he said it was something about you, man. I just knew you were gonna be good for the job. But I think kind of getting started into it, it was rocky at first because a lot of the parents looked at me
Yeah.
because I was young. So they looked at me like, man, you look like one of the kids. And
Yeah.
I remember my first game coaching. I heard somebody in the stands, and this is my first game, man. And at the junior high level, it's a little different from the high school. The
Yeah.
coach you're talking about more is the high school. The junior high culture, though, at League Central is totally different because, you don't have a lot of those Choctaw guys yet because a lot of them at Redwater, a lot of them at Choctaw Central that's not even playing yet. But when they get to the high school, that's when they start kind of venturing out and going to different schools. And that's where Central starts to get some of those transfers. But at the middle school level, we don't really have a lot of the talent like the high school do. So we kind of got to work what we got. But I remember that, and another thing too, a lot of them play football. When they get to high school, a lot of those guys start to pick and choose. All right, I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna do that. Now you got your few that's gonna do both, but it's different, man. Because at the junior high, you got all of them playing football, and then you get them all back like a day before the season. So my first year, and that's the COVID year too. So I come in like July 28th. So I don't have no summer with them.
Yeah.
I had no preseason with them because all of them play football. So I get them back, and first we play Redwater the first game, and I'm just trying to like see what I'm working with, man. And that was the year they switched the balls up too and went with those orange Evo balls.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that was that year too. And
Yeah, that would change.
one of the football coach, he had came with us. He used to help keep the book and stuff. They had and that's not, the balls had just came in and they were flat, so he went and pumped them up. I didn't even go check to see how much he pumped them up. He pumped them up to dang there, they were bricks. So we go out there, man. My guys shooting out the side of the backboard, over the backboard. I heard one of the fans say, "Man," because they knew my assistant coach because he actually like was from the area. They was like, they called his name. They was like, "Man, take over the team. This young dude don't know what he doing." And,
Yeah.
and that fueled me, man, because I'm just like, all right, like I just got here. They ain't gave me a chance because I'm young. They don't think I can do it. So I said, all right. So that really that ignited me. That fueled my fire. I'm like, all right, bitch. So that's when I really was like, all right, I'm really gonna lock into this opportunity. And I've been having doubters all my life, so that's really nothing new to me. So I was in my comfort zone. So I think after that, I think we maybe lost 2 games. And my 7th grade, we ended up losing 1 game, but so like I said, the season got shortened because of COVID. So my 8th grade went 6-2. They won their league championship and beat the team that they lost to by 50 the previous year before I got there. They lost 53-3 at home. Yes, and we ended up turning around when I got in, and we beat them by 20 in the championship game. And then my 7th grade, we also won the league championship. So I think after that, that's when a lot of people like started to kind of look at me different. Like, oh, okay, like he know what he's doing. I started getting a lot of love. Coach Will Banks, I think the girls coach was helping him at the time. He even came to me after the first year and was like, look, man, I want you to help me out, be my assistant. And that was music to my ears because I'm like, all right, well, I'm already trying to become a head coach. Never really wanted to be at the junior high level, but I understand it's steps, it's a process. So my process is a little different. I got to start somewhere. So him offering me the opportunity, I really appreciate him for that because it kind of gave me insights into what I needed for that level. So long story short, man, I end up helping him that first year. We go 26-2. We lost to Holmes County Central during the season. They were the 2-time defending 5A state champs at that time. and the other loss we had was to Raymond at the Coliseum.
Yeah.
And Tadlock, man, he had a great group of guys that year, man. I think he had probably 2 Danny Dozen on the roster. One of them wasn't a Danny Dozen yet, EJ Payman. He wasn't a Danny Dozen yet, but you could tell he was coming. He was a sophomore. But they did have one that was a senior, man. He cooked us in the fourth quarter. But they just had a great team. I think they were number one in the state that year. And we were only down one in the fourth quarter because we had a great team as well. But I think that experience, like that was a big experience for me because my first year assisting high school, we go all the way to the big house, and we lose one game during the season. So that was a huge experience for me. And I think they kind of like even propelled me even more to and I learned a lot from Will Banks that year as well. And I think after that, that's when I started to feel like, okay, I kind of want to, step into that head coaching role now, take that next step. But yeah, I ended up winning a lot at the middle school. We went to the league championship 7 times. I won 5 of them. We actually went to the state junior high tournament that MHSA does as well. And we made the Elite 8. We lost overtime to Oak Grove, man. That tournament, people don't understand. I know a lot of people say, well, it's just junior, it's just middle school. But what people don't understand with that tournament is you may be a 1A and get a 7A team in the first round. Like, this tournament got all the middle schools, not just your classification like high school do it. We got all of them. We had a tough road to even get to the Elite 8. We had to play Columbus, and that was they was like 2 times our size, man. So we beat them, but that was even tough to get there. So I mean, just going through that, and should have beat Oak Grove, but we played in their territory. We had their refs, and that it shouldn't even went to overtime. We should have beat them in regulation. We was up by like 15, but I think kind of going through that kind of gave me confidence even more. Like, okay, if I can take this team that I had where our tallest guy was my point guard at 5'8", and get here where we playing a bunch of 6-foot guys and over, then I pretty much, I feel like I could, coach at the high school level. So, with great times, man, at League Central Middle School and the high school.
Yeah, man, I was at that game when y'all played Raymond, and that was my first time actually seeing y'all. And man, the atmosphere was amazing atmosphere. I'm trying to remember, and I don't want to misspeak, but man, I think y'all had more people in the building that night because than Raymond did. Because man, when you get a team that hasn't been there a while, and of course you playing against the top of the top, it was just a great ball game to see. Of course, Raymond is Raymond is who they are, and of course my guy Tony Tadlock, Coach Tadlock, does a good job with them. Like I said, I'm in the district with him, so I get to see it every day, close up, face to face. I guess I'll go ahead and say this part. I wanted to ask him about more of the union thing, but see, most coaches don't understand this about small schools, and I didn't understand this as well when it come to middle school basketball. And I didn't understand this until I got to Pisgah, and we kind of do the same thing at Richland. Most of the time in middle school, like I take at Richland right now, we might get our guys 2 to 3 days before the first game of the season. And we usually play like a inner city rival, well, not inner city, inner county rival like McLaurin or Pelahatchie. In the second game of a season, we got a district game. We got our own little district. It's us, McGee, Mendenhall, and Florence. And I don't know if a lot of coaches understand some of the grind that smaller schools got to go through. And I'm kind of glad that you said that, but it's the same way for us, Coach. You might have, like, you get no preseason, you really get no off season. You got a small window of time. And my assistant coach, Coach Bridges, they do a good job. We won our conference championship this year. But I'm glad you said that. And I always like to drop nuggets like that. And I'm glad when other coaches drop nuggets. So when other coaches are watching this podcast or they listening to it, they can start having their minds prepared and set. Like, these are some of the hills that you got to overcome, some of the battles you got to overcome. And that's what the podcast is for. Like, again, like you said, a fan come to the game and say, man, he young, he don't know what he doing. And so the average fan don't understand what a coach go through.
They don't understand.
And so now whoever that person is, you can go back and see it. And now you listen to Coach Breakfield's story, and then you listen to the grind, and you listen to all the success he had. Then, as they say, Jason Tatum, what you going to say now? So I just think that it's so important that fans, and that's really my energy and is for the podcast come from is, hey man, you gotta like pay your money, and you're right, but let's stop giving our coaches a hard time. Like, people don't understand, coaches, we pouring into your kids. we sometimes see your kids more than our own kids, our own family. And a lot of times, and I haven't seen too many coaches, but a lot of times coaches are bending over backwards, emptying their pockets, emptying their gas tank to help kids. So, and I'm trying to be as positive as possible, but you really, in my opinion, and I might be wrong, but in my opinion, you really ain't got too much to say. If the coach doing all that and they're doing the best he can to win, and he ain't doing nothing crazy, to hurt your kid in any type of way, you should just be appreciative, man. Sometimes we gonna make mistakes. I'm not saying that we gonna make mistakes. We're not gonna be perfect. But for you to walk in the gym and the first thing you say to me, oh, he can't do it, let somebody else do it, man, you in the wrong with this. So hopefully that message starts to move around. And as coaches, we got to do the same thing. Like I tell people this all the time. I don't need to go to the police officer. Hey man, I think I need to do a better job patrolling the streets. Shit,
Right.
I ain't need to be a police officer. So I just try to get people to be in that mindset. And I heard one of my mentors back in the day, Coach Anna Jackson. She said this. Of course, Anna Jackson at Murrah High School. She said this. She said, I don't go to the bank and tell you, hey man, empty all that money out and give it to me. So what give you the right to come in and try to tell me how to do my job? I just go to the bank, I do what you asked me to do, and I respect what you do. So kind of give me the same thing. So when she started to tell me that, it kind of made me make that register in my mind about that. But another thing for coaches too, you got to deal with fans. It's just a part of it. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that as well. Coach, before I move on from your League Central days, I kind of want to move to, some things about Union. I want to ask you some basketball questions. Talk about that county versus central rival. I often say, how can it be a true rival when you got one school that's smaller and the other school that's bigger when you come to classifications? So
Yeah.
on paper, the team that's the largest is supposed to win. But see, if you say that to like Lee County, or you say that to Velma Jackson, who's quote unquote the smaller school, they like, man, we don't care nothing about that, man. We put our shoes on the same, our shorts on the same, the helmet the same, and that's what makes the rivalry so great. So, man, talk about that Lee County, Lee Central rival, man, and just your experience with it. Anything that you can share about it, because that's another thing I like to hear. I love to hear rival stories and just being in that atmosphere. Because y'all not far from the road. Y'all not far down the road from each other.
Nah,
Y'all got
not at all.
the same colors, I think the same mascot. So, man, just kind of talk to us about that.
Man, that's a really good question, man. Like I think that rival, it needs I think it needs more attention because that's one of the craziest rivals I've ever been a part of. I was a part of it. Like I said, I assisted for 3 years. We didn't get to do it that 26-2 year because a situation happened with one of the players. I think they did something. Did something on social media. I forget the exact situation, but they pretty much had to cancel the game because they was scared that some might pop off. So we didn't even get to play it that year. But
Yeah.
that's a crazy rival, man. The 2 years I was a part of it, like the Booster Club really gets into it. They sell VIP tickets, VIP parking. You got, I mean, it's crowded, man, from the bottom, like standing room only type vibes. You got your Max South Sports that comes to try to, take the games. Like it's crazy. And it really gets kind of intense because Lee County is, I think, the only school out of the two that has a state championship. But I think Central has had some really good teams, and you just got a lot of family that know each other from both. Kind of, it's like a bragging rights thing. So yeah, man. I think the rivalry man, it really is just what it is, man. Like I was a part of a rivalry in high school versus Macomb. Brookhaven and Macomb, we was the two biggest rivalries. I think Lee County and Lee Central may be bigger than that, and that's saying something because we were a huge rivalry. But the Lee County and Central, man, that's just something I ain't never seen before, man. But like I said, the games are always really hyped. We could, like, for instance, we could get up like 20 points, and you still be on the edge of your seat because it's not over, and County gonna make they run, which they usually do. I think both times we end up getting big leads, and they come back and make it a game at the end. And another thing is too, and I don't really like to talk about the refs a lot, but I think even the refs feel it, and they try to keep the games close too because they know how big the rivalry is. You know what I'm saying? So I think every time we get a big lead, them calls start, getting a little iffy. Like, all right, but like I say, man, it's just it's a really good game to go to, and I enjoy being a part of it, man.
Yeah, that's again, I love Rivals, man. Of course, I Rivals Florence High School. When I was in school with the Murrah, so it was Callaway. So yeah, if you ain't got no good rival until they cancel the game or they shut it down or they got security. You got to get there early. I always thought this was crazy. And Lee County Gym is so small, no disrespect. I know they're a smaller school, but I'm like, man, you probably got to get there super early to get in that thing because they can't hold that many people. Like Lee Central, y'all gym, the gym is big. County Gym. Man, like when I was at Pisgah, we used to go there all the time. We loved playing on a Friday night because we knew it was gonna be a crowd, it was gonna be atmosphere.
Yeah.
And you know how they the Lee County, man, the seats right up on the bench, man. Dude could just touch you on the shoulder like this, like he in the huddle. So it's tight in there, but it's a great atmosphere.
I forgot about that. The first time we did play, and we had to play both games at Central because their gym was too small, and because
Yeah.
of all the tickets that were selling out so fast, they knew it was going to be too many people to fit in the gym. The second time we played them, we played in both gyms. Man, when I say it was something like a sight to see going to their gym. Like you had a line dang near all the way out the Walnut Grove. You know what I'm saying? Like it was
Yeah.
like that line was long. We pulled up and like all we see is people just standing on the sidewalk. Like from the entrance all the way to the gym entrance is like full. And it got to the point they let us in, but they had to stop letting fans in. So what happened is all the fans just rushed in, ran over the people at the door trying to get in the game. And it wasn't nowhere to sit. You had people trying to sit on our bench. You know, it was crowded, man. But that was probably one of the crazier games too, man. Like that's another game that came down to the wire. But it gets crazy.
Yeah, it was like that too. When my freshman year when we played Callaway, we used to play at that time. They kept it at the gyms, at the school gyms, and then this particular incident, they started playing at like the bigger school in Jackson. But yeah, my first year, man, school would get out at I'm gonna just say 3:30. Obviously, I'm not accurate with the times. Man, no lie, coach. You know, they open the gate to 5. Man, line at 3:30. Talking about, man, like you said, line from the door all the way to the street. And so, man, you know, people been standing out there for a long time, 2-3 hours. You almost to the door, and then they say it's sold out. So, you know, people calling inside, hey man, no, it's seats in here. So people get mad and just, excited. And they end up having to use pepper spray because I think everybody made to try to rush the door or things of that nature. And so after that situation, they started playing it at bigger facilities. I know now they move it back to the schools. I went to a Murrah Callaway game this past season to support some of my classmates, Coach Caldwell, Coach McGinnis, and even Candace, who coached the girls at the time. So, Coach, let's move on to Union, man. I want to give Union a shout out. Excuse me. I know that Union got a good one with you, just getting to know you. Coach, this is the part I want to jump into with this. I think most people don't know. Most people understand this either, and this is good for our young coaches. Again, I didn't understand this until I got to Pisgah. At certain schools, especially the smaller schools, you got to coach middle school and you got to coach high school. And it's a good thing. It's a very good thing, but it takes some time because here's the thing that most people don't know. When you coach middle school and high school, your week has now become almost a 4-day week, especially when high school season starts. So, man, you done there going every single day. And you got to think about it. Sometimes you might have to travel here, got a home game here, travel here, home game here. You might have all 4 at home. You still got to practice. Again, you still coaching middle school, you still coaching high school. And we know high school kind of, high school moves the needle. Middle school people respect it because it's needed and it's appreciated. But high school is kind of what they want to see. So you got to figure out how to manage both. So that's always a challenge. Of course, Justin and I, we coach the girls and boys at Pisgah. So we have middle school girls, high school girls, middle school boys, and high school boys. And we had it 4 nights a week. Coach, I know I say it sounds crazy saying it out loud, but Justin and I did it for 6 years, but we made it work though. So, but the one positive thing is, man, you get to start building your kids from 7 all the way up, and that's a big thing. And you can pretty much teach your system, and you ain't got to keep teaching it over and over again because they've been running the system for a long time. So that's a benefit for. And so, Coach, I know you walking into Union. Obviously, Union has a rich tradition in football that I know of. Obviously, I know there's some good things about basketball. I don't know much about it as well, so I don't want to go too far in and disrespect. I know a couple guys that came out of Union, Coach Luckett, of course, Smooth, we at Clinton. Of course, my guy Matt Wilbanks was on the girls' side. And so I know that there is some opportunities that they have. I know Union girls went to the state championship a couple of times when Matt was there. So I know it's a tradition. I know they're coming off a not so good season this past year, and that's a part of basketball. And that's a part of basketball. And so that's a challenge that you will walk into and overcome that, because I know that you will. So, Coach, just talk about some of the things that you hope to accomplish uh, when you go to Union. So there's some things that the fans can look forward to, the administrators can look for. What are some things that you're trying to do in that, and having a not so? And I want to clear this up too. Sometimes people think when you have a bad record that you're not a good coach. So not sure who the coach previous, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they were a bad coach. Sometimes if you coach long enough, you're gonna realize that sometimes you just ain't got it these particular years. So I want to always make sure that's clear, because we're not here to down anybody. We just have to state the facts. Because again, I didn't have the best season. If you go and look at mine, but we're gonna get better as it go along. So, Coach, just talk about what's some things that you hope to accomplish or do, or what you're excited about going into Union High School.
Really, I really just want to come in and bring that passion about basketball back. Which I see the AAU teams and the Union Elite AAU team. You know, they're really starting to kind of bring that passion back as well, create some energy and excitement. I think they just had their basketball camp, but Coach Marco Hickman and some of the other coaches, they're doing a really good job there with that. But just, you know, just kind of bring that enthusiasm about the game, that love and passion about it back. Because I see it with football. And, you know, and I'm like, okay, well, I had experience working with like League Central. They're big on football at the middle school level. So I've had experience working in this type of environment. But yeah, I think just to kind of bring that winning mentality, that belief that, you know, we can be great here at both sports, at all sports, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, just kind of bringing a winning mentality. I remember after this past year, when I was looking, to, you know, to move on and applying in different places, the Union job came open. And I remember reading what they were looking for in their next coach, and it said somebody that can compete for district championships. And I'm just like, and state championships as well. I'm just like, shoot, you know, that's pretty much what I do. Like, I come in and my teams, we win. And I remember getting a call from a text from Coach Lucky. You know, that's one of my guys as well. He's been a great mentor for me. He was like, hey man, Union job just came open. Cause you know, I've been trying to look for, you know, a high school head coaching job. So I was like, yeah, man. I said, I just seen it. I'm about to apply now. He said, all right, man, I'll be looking out for you. And I talked to Coach Matt Wilbanks as well. That's Carl Wilbanks' son. So, you know, they both are guys that I kind of talked to during that process, because they both kind of came from the same situation. They left Carthage, went to Union, and they made a name for themselves. So I'm kind of looking at that blueprint like, okay, that's you know, something I can kind of follow there. But I'm just looking to really come in, develop the guys, create that excitement, enthusiasm about the game, and just to win, really, man.
I think that's good, Coach, man. I like it, man. I know you're a wise guy, man. As they always say, man, never overpromise. Just go ahead and over deliver, but you don't have to say it. Just let the work speak for itself. That shows the wisdom that you have, man. And of course, man, shout out to Coach Lucky, man, Coach Will Banks, man. Coach Lucky, we got to get you on the podcast. I know I've had Coach Will Banks on here, but it's funny that you said that, man. As I see young coaches like yourself and kind of some of the same walks and some of the experiences, I like to always try to hopefully share some piece of advice. And so, man, I said it's not me. I don't want people to ever think it's me. So I try to reach out to some other guys, and I reached out to Coach Tadlock actually this morning and told him I was doing an interview, and I said, what would be some good first year things that I could recommend to, you know, to a first year coach. And Coach Tadlock said, be willing to stick through the tough times. Your first year is the most critical to your foundation and future success. He said success isn't always measured in wins early. It's about the small wins, having a good practice, having good weeks of practice, and changing the culture. So I think that's very good, the small victories. I actually reached out to Coach Wilbanks, and Coach Wilbanks said this, and he really broke it down very good, and he broke it detailed. So he must have known I had you on here. But he said the most important thing is coming into a head coaching job is to build relationships. He says that is the most important than X's and O's. He said the kids have their relationship with you before you can even coach them hard. He said also every kid can't be coached the same. Learn who you can be hard on compared to those that need more positive affirmation and criticism. He says don't be tied to the style of play. Your philosophy can be the same, but you have to put your players in the best position to succeed according to their ability compared to what style you want to do. He says make your system fit your players instead of your players fitting your system. It can also be different each year. So again, your principles and all that can be the same, but don't be scared to adjust. And then he said, lastly, don't be scared to do the grunt work. Just because you're a head coach doesn't mean you can't still wash the clothes, sweep the floor, and lead by example. And that's another piece of advice from a solid coach, and Coach Wilbanks. And I like the part when he says, never get too big for the job. And then I reached out to one more coach, and these are some guys that I kind of talked to throughout the year. Of course, my guy, Coach Carlisle, at Starkville as well. And he said his best advice would be set your foundation. And if you see a lot of the coaches kind of saying some of the same things when it comes to, he said, set your culture, your discipline, and your work ethic. And he said, keep your expectations high and hold them accountable until they meet those expectations. So, and those things, coach, that I hope that you take to heart. I even still take them to heart because I still ask them for advice. But I want you to be successful, man. Hopefully you can go back and kind of listen to those things and maybe slow it down and just listen to them, because there's so many things that you're going to learn as a head high school coach. And even though you've done it before at the middle school level, it's always anything you do new is a learning curve. But I know you're going to be successful. But I just wanted to kind of reach out to those guys because I know you're familiar with them, but also too, not just for you to hear, but for veteran coaches and rookie coaches, coach. So, that would be just some advice from some other coaches who kind of been on this podcast.
And I hate to cut you off, Coach, but
Yeah.
what Coach Wilbanks said, he actually gave me that same advice, and just pretty much told me like not to get discouraged. Like you're gonna have your tough times or whatever. But when I was doing my interview, that's what pretty much W.T. Smith, he's the athletic director. He was pretty much telling me like, look, we need somebody to come in and build these relationships. We had a couple of guys that didn't play, but we need somebody to come in and build these relationships. So and I forgot to tell you, that's one of the main things I focus. I don't know why I forgot to say that, because that's one of the main things I actually been focusing on this summer is just building those relationships. Taking the guys out to eat after the game, going to church. One of the players invited me to church. I went to church service one Sunday. So just trying to build those relationships. Some of them asked me to open a gym for them, when we're not practicing. So I go up there and open a gym. So little things like that, and just trying to learn about who they are as people first is something I've been really focusing on. I forgot to mention that, but you reminded me when you said what Coach Wilbanks said there. But yeah, that's very important.
Oh man, that's good, man. Again, it's always good stuff. I guess my piece of advice would be as a first year coach. I would say, man, coach, don't be so hard on yourself. Because I know you got a competitive spirit, so I'm assuming that we're gonna be the same in this matter of it. You go into a situation and you see a challenge. And so you see a 3-19 record, and that may be accurate, maybe off on a certain level, but you know that there are not a lot of wins. And so I walked into a similar situation like that when I was at Pisgah. So my whole goal was, man, I got to get past the number that they won, so I can prove to the people that they chose that made the right decision.
Yeah.
So don't be too hard on yourself. Just know that it takes time and you're going to move in the right direction. But I think, that's what I would say. Just don't be too hard on yourself, because when you like that, man, you're going to have sleepless. People say sleepless nights. Maybe they do. I think it's a quote that we say as coaches have sleepless nights. Because I I probably had about 4 or 5 hours sleep. So in case I ain't had no sleep this night, where I went 24 hours. But there is some nights when you stay up a little bit longer. But man, don't be too hard on yourself, man. But you good, man. You got a lot of good people, and you got a lot of a proven track record, I would say. Coach, here go 2 questions. I'm gonna get you out of here. I'm gonna ask you our most famous question. I think I already know a piece of it because you kind of answered it earlier in the interview. But I got another segment I've added that I thought was pretty cool. Coach, the most popular question that we have on here all the time is, Coach, starting 5. So, Coach, who would be your starting 5, your greatest starting 5 of all time in the NBA? It don't have to be by positions. It's kind of however you look at it, but it's kind of a question that we always ask a lot of our coaches, just to kind of get some dialogue going. And then I'm going to ask you 2 more, and I'm going to let you get out, Coach.
Oh, that's a good question. I know a lot of my teammates, if I don't say this one, they gonna call me like, "Hey Rick, what's going on, man?" But I gotta put Paul George in there, man. That's one of my guys, and I used to hype him up a lot. Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. I'd probably say Tim Duncan. I go with LeBron.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you got Kobe, Jordan, LeBron, Paul George, and Tim Duncan, man. I don't think you can go wrong with that. Yeah, man. I think, well, something that kind of lead into something that I have. A new topic of conversation I want to add to is what if. And so what if is like, what if this would have happened? And so this kind of leads to my question. I was about to say, man, I don't think people realize how good Paul George is and was.
Man, you gotta look at it. He pushing LeBron, man, for those 2 years. Like
Yeah.
you pushing one of the GOATs of the game. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I think he really could have been top 5 talent, man. Like if he don't tear that leg up, I think he probably would have. Now it's hard to tell though because you still got LeBron in the East, so I don't know if he win a championship because you still got to get through LeBron. And as you see, LeBron went like 8 straight times to the finals. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I just feel like he'd be top 5 game. We'll be still talking about him. I feel like. I mean, that's anybody that got hurt. Tracy McGrady, Derrick Rose. There's so many of them that got hurt. Penny Hardaway. So you just like you say, it's a great what if question, but he'd be a top 5 talent for sure.
Yeah, man. That's why I like these what if questions, man. A lot of times, I've started since I've added this topic to the podcast. I've started to sit down and put these in because there's a lot of what ifs out there. And you're right though, Coach. Because if you think about it, man, Indiana pushed. If you go back and do your research, Indiana pushed Miami really to some close battles. It's just they couldn't just pull it out, and that made it interesting. But like you said, that what if question is kind of hard to move past because like you said, LeBron just ran the East. So it's kind of hard. I'm like you, it's kind of hard for me to say that, Paul George and the Indiana Pacers move Cleveland and LeBron out the way, or move, Miami and LeBron and D Wade them out the way. It's kind of hard to say that. But again, it's interesting just to be able to see what that looks like. So again, I appreciate that what if question. I'll say this then, at least you're a Paul George guy, and then I'll let you get the last word. Will Philly do anything this year? Because, man, the thing about Philadelphia, and I think it's going to be a great documentary, and I love to see this, man. You got to look at what Philly has really, I was about to say the last 15, 20 years, but now as I sit here and I think about the Dr. J days, I think about the Charles Barkley days, and I think about the Allen Iverson days. Now I'm thinking about the process days, and I'm thinking about Ben Simmons, and I'm thinking about this 2 or 3 years where Philly, I think, has to really do something. Man, where do you see Philadelphia this year? Because in the East is a toss up in the East, a toss up in the West. But this whole notion where Philly has not necessarily probably met the goals that they wanted, and I know that now they have a guy that you like in Paul George, man. Where do you see Philly this year? Because I think it's pivotal this year. But where do you see Philly this year?
I think they can get to the top of the East as long as MB and PG stay healthy. I think they can definitely make some noise. You got Tyrese Maxey, another young guy that's been really doing his thing as well. I like the guy they just drafted, VJ Edgecombe.
Yeah.
So yeah, they got some really nice pieces, man. It's just about really just health. I think they could have been really good this past year if everybody would have stayed healthy. So if they stay healthy, I could see them making a run to at least the conference finals.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Philly fans and I think anybody support a team deserve it. But hopefully we can kind of get our ducks in a row because if you do any kind of research in the last 3 to 4 years, the Pelicans, we were always like number one in the West starting off, and then just things just start happening.
Yeah.
So they're just kind of basketball. So shout out to the Pelicans,
I think
man.
our biggest thing is Zion Williamson health, man. If he can stay healthy, y'all can do some things.
Yeah, man, because he's unstoppable,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't realize that unless you really watch the game, he's probably gonna shoot anywhere. And this sounds crazy, but it's true though. He's gonna shoot anywhere between 60 to 80% a night,
Yeah.
because he's about 20 feet and below. He's going to the rim. You can't stay in front of him. He's too strong. You can try to drop off a little bit and give him a jump shot. He may hit that floater, but all he gonna do is just take that 2-pound dribbles and just finish over the top of you. So it's almost hard to stop him. So if we can get that taken care of, it's gonna be a problem for a lot of people.
It's
But
funny you say that. I took my team last year to a Pelicans Clippers game. And
mhm,
man, Zion Williamson was dominating. Like he was literally unstoppable. Like that's
yep.
probably one of the best games I've ever seen him play, man. Like you got PG, Kawhi out there, and he stood out as the best player on the floor that night. So he's
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah, you can't do nothing with him, man. Man, Coach, man, I enjoyed this interview. Of course, Coach, this part hasn't changed in the episode. We always give our guests the final word. We call it the last shot. And in this segment, Coach, you can shout somebody out. You could, make a profound statement. You can just share anything, just kind of whatever you want to do to kind of close the show. So, Coach Breakfield, man, go ahead, take the last shot.
Well, really, man. First of all, I want to thank God just for allowing me to be where I am today. My parents, for having me. I want to appreciate you too, man, for inviting me on, man. I'm really a big fan of your podcast and just the stories, and I think I've actually learned a lot from the guests you've had on as well. So, and a lot from you as well, man. So appreciate this platform and what you're doing here, man. Trying to bring some positivity and shed some light on what some of our journeys
Mhm.
and things like that. I want to shout out my wife, man. She's a huge part of why I can do what I do. Man,
Mhm.
she's my backbone. Like she's gonna be there through the losses, the wins, when I'm venting. Like she's just steady.
Yes.
Yeah, just all my Mr. Fleming that that gave me my shot, allowed me to get my foot in the door. WT Smith, hired me a union. And just everybody, man, that just played an important role in getting me to where I am today, man. I'm just grateful. But message I would leave with everybody is just keep going, man. If it's something you really desire, of course, seek God on it and seek His wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Proverbs 3:5-6 is one of my favorite scriptures. And just have faith, man. Just keep going, man. Don't let a little adversity set you back. Go through it, So.
Coach, go ahead and read them that verse, man. Go on, tell them what that verse say, man. That's one of my favorite too. Go ahead and go on, tell them, man. What it say, Coach?
Yeah, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not into thine own understanding, but in all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your paths.
Man, that's pretty powerful, man. I was sitting here as you were saying, man. I was trying to look with a verse, and I'm trying to add this to the podcast as well, man. We do our thing before the podcast. Most people don't know, but I'm trying to add a little bit more to that. But that's kind of one of my verses, man. I trust in the Lord with all your heart. As I was just listening to your story, man, I was thinking about what ties in, what verse ties in, man. And I'm gonna look at Galatians 6:9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we don't give up. And I'm gonna say it again in case somebody missed it, man. Let us not be weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we don't give up. When I think about Coach Breakfield, man, and all he's gone through, that's not a guy that has given up, and he's slowly changing the game, man. So I'm excited, man. I thank you. I appreciate you for being on here, man. Appreciate you for giving me some support, giving me some confirmation just to get this thing back started, man. And I really do appreciate it, because when I met you in the gym in Pelahatchie, you didn't have to say anything. You ain't have to mention anything, but you just never know what a word to do. So I appreciate you. I say this all the time, and I'm hoping people take it to heart. I need my people of union. I need everybody who support coach, man, come out and support him. And I say this all the time. This is what I mean by support. I'm sure coach got some assistant coaches, so he don't really need to tell you. He don't really need no help. Say, hey, man, do this, this. Now, he probably don't need that support. But what coach need is he needs you to be there and support. He needs you to support his kids. He needs you to support his wife. He needs you to support his family. Make a donation to the program because jerseys. We need jerseys, shoes, socks,
Right.
pregame meals. We need it all. So do that for me, man. Like, let that be the support that you give. Like, you don't have to support In the Sand podcast, but support coach because those things make a difference, especially as a young coach. So, man, do that for me, man. Fans of Union, fans of Coach Breakfield, man, y'all do that for me. Until next time, as I always say, be nice, be kind to someone, and we'll see you on the next episode.